Hello NCs, Nutnfancy here with another fixed blade knife review. Don't panic. Some guy's been saying, dude, you're not going to review knives anymore. No, dudes, I'm totally going to review knives and guns and tactical gear and other stuff, which will remain secret to this point. Just stay tuned. You'll see it coming. Anyways, this is a cool fixed blade survival knife. I really like it a lot. Now, this is just from my initial examination of the blade, and that's what I'm going to show you, my overall initial impression of the blade after handling it for a bit and just kind of studying the blade and comparing it against other blades in the inventory. And I'll show you exactly what I mean as the review progresses. But let me tell you the specifics. This is a large, heavy Bowie knife, and for this review I'll say the word Bowie instead of Bowie. I know I switch back and forth, doesn't matter. That's a large, heavy Bowie knife from the outstanding corporation in Olean, New York, Ka-Bar. I love these guys. Dig them. Why? Because they give us a lot for our money. Anytime I get a high quality piece of merchandise for a low cost, I'm a fan. Nutnfancy is a fan. You'll see me promoting them. No, not that I make any money off it, and I don't care about that. I want to get you guys the best gear I can. That's my motivation. Just like I say on my channel page. I dig that. I like that. I love getting you good deals. I'm going to talk about that here at the end, so stay tuned. Anyways, Ka-Bar knives, large heavy Bowie knife. Man, this is a cool blade. This is in the category, of course, large survival / combat knife. Let me lower it here so you can get a better look-see. The reason I got this version, I think they make a 7.5-inch version. I got the 9-inch biggest blade version. And I talk a lot about the philosophy of large survival blades, like in the out of doors. I know that some of you guys don't like those blades. You think that, take a little hunting knife with an axe. I understand that. That's not me, though. I like a large blade, generally speaking, if I know I'm going to be doing heavy-duty wilderness woodworking, i.e. sheltercraft, maybe. Usually I have a tent, but just once in a while, sheltercraft. Definitely fire making. That's almost always on the ticket, especially in a winter camp. I mean, that's pretty much all your time is spent doing is gathering and preparing firewood. If I know I'm going to be doing that, then I want a large bladed survival knife, if my system can take the weight, which, like winter camping, carrying a sled, it just might be able to. Or maybe it's just a short summer hike where you're not going to go mile after mile, and therefore you might be able to take more weight. Maybe you can take an 80-pound pack, heaven forbid, but I've been known to do that. How you doing? If you're a troop, i.e. a soldier, going in harm's way, this would be a good option for you as well. The reason I say that is because it has a lot of reach, 9-inch blade, nice and wide, so it's going to have excellent shearing potential, I think. Also, it has a decent sheath. I'll show you that in a second. And it's relatively light for what it is. If we put this on the scale, it's only 15.6 ounces. That's pretty good for a 9-inch, very large cruciform pattern survival knife. Decent. That's a lot of knife for 15.6 ounces. And we can compare that against some other contenders, like maybe, where did it go? So many blades, so little desk space. Well, let's go against a Rat 7. This is the large, heavy Bowie by Ka-Bar against a Rat 7. It's kind of interesting, too, because we can see the differences in size, this being a 7-inch blade, 9-inch blade on the bottom. But notice the difference in width. I love the Rat 7, though. I can't say anything bad about it. By the way, I have seen the dude who busted his D2 Rat 7, and to that, Nutnfancy says, D2 is not a great wilderness steel. It's too brittle. To be pounded on D2 into a large, very dense log, I'm not super surprised it broke. I'm disappointed to see it broke, to be honest. But the 1095 version, if that would have broken doing that, I would have been pretty much pissed. Because I would not expect a 1095 to do that. I have had a Recon Scout break on me doing that, and I was, how you doing, pissed. And I let Cold Steel know about it. That knife should not fail like that. Now, let's take a little detour in the review of this knife since we're on the subject, since I'm on the subject. I understand that under the handle, sometimes they can have sharp radius corners. We can't see them because, of course, the handle's on it. And those can induce stress fractures. And suppose if we go with a more expensive knife, maybe, I don't know, semi-custom blade, or maybe a scrapyard, swamp rat, or something like that, that it wouldn't have that. They would radius those sharp corners and thereby preventing a break in your survival knife. I'm all for that, by the way. But this is a very inexpensive survival knife, and it seems to be very high quality. So not sure how they did it under the handle. It probably does have some sharp edges, which may lead to breakage in the wilderness. Don't know. But I'll tell you this, Nutnfancy is going to take this blade out in the Nutnfancy Knife Clinic, both in good weather and bad weather, and we're going to find out. Stay tuned. Subscribe. You will dig what you see me doing with this blade in the out of doors. If it breaks, I'll tell you about it. I ain't going to hide it. Anyways, that's a Rat 7. That large Bowie knife pretty much dwarfs it. Now, this is what I was looking for earlier. It's the Trailmaster by Cold Steel. This is one of my favorite all-around survival knives, by the way, for a lot of reasons. It has reach, nice long blade, nice comfortable craton handle, nice guard. I mean, look at my review. I tell you all about it and that. But this is heavier. This is about 1.5 ounces heavier than the large Heavy Bowie by Ka-Bar. By the way, that's a dumb name. I wish Ka-Bar would come up with a better name for that. It's so generic. The large Heavy Bowie. That's like naming your car Automobile. Not cool, not catchy. There's a lot better ways to market it than that. But anyways, that's it. Look how much wider that blade is than that Trailmaster. But the blade length, if we put them neck and neck, are pretty darn close. Large Heavy Bowie is just slightly shorter, not much. Just like the Trailmaster on the top, you'll see that your large Heavy Bowie knives, that epoxy coat on the 1095 blade will wear off as you use it in the woods. And guess what? It just makes it look cooler. That is a blade that just looks cool, to my opinion. Now, you hear me complain, I don't want to use my knives too heavy. It's only because of sharpening. That now I have to either sharpen them myself, and that's time, or get Fitson to do it, and that's money. So that's why I complain. It's just time and hassle for me. But let's talk about specifics on this. I'll tell you right now, this is going to be longer than 10 minutes because there's too much to talk about. First off, this is a 1/4 inch thick blade. That's my minimum thickness for a large survival/combat knife for me. That's because I feel that a wider blade performs better in the woods when splitting wood, batoning. The Trailmaster is thicker still. I think that's 5/16 of an inch. You can see the difference in spine widths. This is a thick blade, that Trailmaster. Love that. But it's not always a good thing. I don't always want a really thick blade. In EDC knives, hunting knives, tactical knives, I think a thick blade is stupid. It's not needed. And there's a lot of designs that they give you a thick blade. It just adds weight unnecessarily. Not much strength. But in this style of knife, large survival knife, I like it. Has a large unsharpened swedge on the top. Will Nutnfancy sharpen that? No, not yet. I'm going to be pounding on that with a log, so I kind of want to keep that unsharpened now. The edge as it came out of the box, by the way, really sharp. Good job, Ka-Bar. They do such a good job in giving you a nice sharp edge out of the box. It's a little bit dull now. I've been cutting paper with it all day just because it's kind of fun. Let me see if I can get a piece of paper here. And it'll probably rip it since I probably ruined that fine edge on it. There you go. That'll give you an idea. Still sharp. Great edge. Good job, Ka-Bar. Love that. Full flat grind, by the way. This is not an edge grind. I'll go and use my Voyager as a pointer. Look at that. Full flat grind. That means it's going to be like a wedge going through wood. Very nice. I just love full flat grinds. May change in the future. That's what I dig now. Nice Bowie clip shape. I mean, can I say enough about it? It's just a great defensive knife. This will stab very well. It will hack, I think, pretty well. Nice belly for slashing tasks. Now, this blade in hand is actually pretty light. It feels light. It feels quick and lively in hand. Doesn't feel like it's very weight heavy towards the nose. That's good in that it would be a faster combat blade. It's bad in that it probably won't hack as good as, I don't know, maybe the Trailmaster, which is more tip heavy in my opinion. We'll find out in the clinic. We'll test it. But I really love the blade shape. 1095 steel. I know there's varying heat treats on this steel, and I know that they're just different in quality. I'm not super picky about that on my 1095 blades when I take them out in the woods and I thrash on a blade. As long as it holds an edge pretty good, It sharpens relatively good, and it's a tough blade that won't break on me. I'm happy. And I think there's some makers out there, like Tops, that are overpricing their $10.95 blades. I don't care what heat treat you make on it. It's still $10.95. Because Buck's already proven that a proprietary heat treat, like the Paul Bow process, if I'm saying that right, doesn't cost an arm and a leg. Kind of like the Bantam series. Got paper stuck to this one. The Bantam has a proprietary heat treat, and it only costs like $10. So don't tell me that a heat treat process is expensive, because Buck has proven that it is not. But back to $10.95, it's a good all-around steel. I like it. Tough, doesn't nick up in the dirt, generally speaking. There's some steels out there that will. I haven't found mine to do that, though. How about that handle? Well, there's no double quilling here to, save you from another blade attack like you saw Finston talk about. However, this is mostly a survival knife, not a combat knife, in my opinion. And check this out. The handle has a really interesting and very useful shape. Now, no quilling here or thumb ramp or anything here. Maybe a little bit of flare here as we go to the choil area. Not bad. But this is flared out on the side. So if you're grasping it like that, it's going to be really difficult for your hand to go forward with the flares on the side of the handle. By the way, that handle material, I really like what Ka-Bar uses. It's not like the Cold Steel Recon Scout, which is a rubbery craton. This is more of a elasticized polymer, and the thing I like about it is it doesn't grab clothing. You can rub clothing against this, like your shirt or something, and it won't grab. So that's a constant hassle with a rubbery style craton handle like this. Also, I think this one's more durable than this one. You can see my Cold Steel trail sides already showing wear just from using it, and those will wear down and pretty, one of these days I'm going to have to cut it off, and I'll probably just put a paracord handle on it, maybe micarta, something like that. That'll be a fun project. But back to this handle on the Ka-Bar Large Heavy Bowie, I like this too, the flare here, that when you lock it in your hand, it really makes it so you can swing and chop that knife with great effect. And check this out, if you need to get better reach for it, you could choke all the way back on the handle like that. Now you've got yourself like a 12-inch defensive weapon, at least maybe about 16 inches of reach total, and it locks in on the hand because of that flared portion right here that can lock into your hands. Very nice. I love the handle on this. Very nice. Now, we don't have an exposed tang here where we can hammer with. I would prefer that on my large, heavy survival knives, kind of like the Ka-Bar Combat. This is a utility version. I like to have the hammering option like we do with that. By the way, let's compare this real quick. Pretty much dwarfs the Ka-Bar Combat knife. Look at that. Longer, wider. Wow, still love this knife. Super lightweight, very capable. But that large, heavy Bowie knife is impressive. Impressive blade. Great handle, nice blade. And check this out. The price on this, and get your mouses ready, because you're just going to, every time I mention a knife and where I got it, it like sells out. Because I want to get another one, and then I go back and it's gone. So I made sure that didn't happen before I opened my big mouth. Anyways, the price on this, $45 at yourcornerstore.com. Now, as years go by and this video is still on, the price is probably going to change. Maybe the supplier will change. But as of 2008, September, that's what I paid for it. And that's pretty darn good. Amazingly good. Let's look at the sheath real quick. I only got about a minute to go before I want to shut my mouth. Nice sheath. This is very similar to the Ontario style sheaths out there. And it's made of leather and Cordura. Cordura on the front, leather on the back, riveted and heavy stitched. Very nice. Yeah, I still have issues with leather. I don't like it. I like Kydex. That's my favorite sheath material. Look at the opposing straps, how you can just take your thumb and index finger and pop and release the blade. They really situated those nicely. Not a quick release belt, unfortunately. You're going to have to loop it over. And yes, you can put this on your LBE or tactical vest, I have no doubt. Goes in nicely. They have welts in here, so the blade never comes in contact with a stitching or rivets. Fits nicely. Overall, the package is light and portable. Wow, that's a Ka-Bar Large Heavy Bowie knife. I absolutely love it. Now, will I change my opinion as I use it in the woods? By the way, that's what the knife looks like against an Ontario SP5. Also, I'll review that. Stay tuned. But it's about the same blade length, about the same weight. This is also an outstanding survival knife. High value. Separate review though. But I love this large heavy Bowie knife. All indications point up for this knife. $45 for this knife? You gotta be kidding me. It's a full flat ground, 1/4 inch thick slab of steel, full hilt going all the way back through the handle. That's really nice. I just love it. Yeah, it's made overseas, but as we've shown many times before, if the quality control is good, it just doesn't matter. Nutnfancy, I highly recommend this blade. If I find that it has issues in the woods, I'll post a follow-up video. You'll learn about it. But I'm pretty much thinking it won't. Thanks for tuning in. I love this knife. See ya.